All right, 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to the Babushka Boys podcast, episode 5. We're here with Eol Menelik, the co-hosts, and then our guests today, Hector and Zack. Eol is going to give you guys a little information about these two real quick.
Yes. Welcome to our esteemed guests, Hector and Zack. We're so glad to have you guys on the show. Welcome.
What's up?
Hey, I have a complex connection, so let's get into this podcast.
Real quick,
It's
you
gonna
guys-
be the best episode
what do
yet.
The gift that keeps giving like Babushka.
So once again, looking back at current state right now, looking at 1,800,000 cases. Obviously, only going up. 113,000 deaths, and then 420,000 people recovered. So that's the update. What are you guys into? What do you guys do? Like, what's your passions and things like that?
Yeah, enlighten us.
All right, I don't know who's gonna go first, so I'm just staying quiet. All right, I'm an entrepreneur, but right now I deliver pizza, so that's about it right now.
There you go.
Okay, you can't be like, that's too general. Be more specific. Like,
More
what
specific,
makes you an entrepreneur? Go ahead.
I like retail arbitrage, and I like the restaurant business. Those are my two things right there.
What'd you just say? Retail what?
Arbitrage.
That's a Gary Vee word, right?
Yeah, explain that word for me.
Yeah, give us some definitions here.
You don't know what retail arbitrage? Okay. Retail arbitrage is basically reselling stuff that you can find in retail stores and still making a profit online.
Interesting. And this is what you do currently, or
Yeah, I don't make too much money because I kind of stopped doing it, but it's still like I still get sales here and there, believe it or not.
So this is the thing where you sell like Apple Watches and stuff to people.
No, that's something else. I also do that on the side. I like flip iPhones and Apple Watches and electronics and stuff like that.
so. Okay. I think to preface to the listeners, I think it's better if I explain how I know both of you. So Hector and Zack both go to my school, which is LaSalle College High School, and the way I actually met Hector and Zack is kind of funny, but the way I met Zack is even funnier. I believe it was like freshman year in homeroom, and this man is coming up. You want to buy some candy? And he's literally selling to the entire homeroom. And this was like freshman year. So can you tell us about like your beginnings, both of you, Hector and Zack? I mean, it doesn't really matter who starts.
Go ahead, Hector. You got this.
So I'm a filmmaker and a photographer who is also an entrepreneur, and I like to start businesses, and I've actually started a business with Zack. Didn't go so well, but we've learned a lot through our experiences together, and I think of Zack as my best friend. And I think I met you, EOL, summer pre-ninth. I think
Yes.
it was.
Yes, sir.
We were both trying to get into LaSalle because we're eggheads, but it's all good.
You know the vibe. Wait, so talk to us more about this company.
Between me and Hector,
Yes, sir.
it was a dropshipping company and we failed terribly.
You're
I
simplifying
mean,
it.
hey.
Like, how did it start? What gave
We
you that
had
idea?
shoppers.
But
We had sales.
before
What
we,
was the goal? Like, what was the idea of the whole thing?
before we speak about the actual business, we need to talk about the fact that people can't be scared to talk about the fact that they failed a business, because that's what it's more about. Starting a business is easy, but when you fail and you can't tell other people, that's the hard part. Because people are so ashamed nowadays to tell people about their stories of failure. But failure is what it's all about.
I mean,
Fair enough.
let's look at the pros, right? We got sales. Like, it's not like we didn't get sales, but we spent way more on the advertising than we were getting an income, and it didn't convert into like constant sales, and it sort of just like died.
What were you selling?
We were selling chargers.
Okay.
Like iPhone chargers, or what kind of chargers? Are you
Yeah,
talking
like
about?
cheap China chargers.
Charging stations, stuff like
Yeah.
that, like magnetic chargers.
So basically any kind of charger.
We had a charger that turned into a bracelet. That was the main one, and we advertised that on a micro influencer. He had about 200,000 followers on Instagram, and we paid him. I think we paid him how much?
Like $50.
No, we paid him like 120, which is
we paid him and his sister, right?
No, his cousin. Yeah, they both had a total of like 350,000 followers on Instagram, and we bought both of them to advertise on their pages for 24 hours, and they both did it at the exact same time. And so we got a whole bunch of customers on the website and barely any sales. And when that happens, it's not really a shitty website or shitty advertising. It's just a shitty product. Nobody really wants the product. So that's what happened with us.
I mean, we still got 6 sales, but the other problem was it would take like 30 days to get there too, which is god awful to wait 30 days for a shit product, you know?
Wait, so okay, how did you guys originally start this company?
How did it start?
I don't know. We were just kind of like talking to each other, and we're like, we should start something. Because I remember talking to like Calvin and stuff. We tried to do something with Calvin.
Who's Calvin?
Calvin is this Asian kid who sold tasers at our school, and he got suspended.
Oh my god!
He ended up transferring because he couldn't, for behavioral purposes, he couldn't stay in the school. So, but he's a hustler, man. I look up to that kid, even though he's younger than me.
So you got inspired?
It's crazy. I do remember Calvin. Shout out to Calvin.
Yeah,
but he wasn't a part of this company, but I remember me, him, and I think we were just like me, him, and Zach would always talk about starting something online and how like everyone was doing stuff online. So like we wanted to get something started on like Shopify and stuff.
It's a terrible mixture when you put impatience with a little bit of cash and online together. It just doesn't work. We were too impatient for an online business at the time.
My cash and Calvin's.
Okay, so what did you guys learn through building this company? What was this experience like for both of you?
For me, I can't speak on what Zach learned, but for me, it was trying to be more level-headed and be more patient, because it gets stressful at times. Because when you're seeing the money go out and no money come in, it hurts.
Yeah, I can imagine. What about you, Zach?
Yeah, it was more so than the technical stuff. It was more the emotional side, because, like he said, when we're dishing out all this cash, and you really think something's gonna work and it doesn't work, especially when I went in looking at the upside instead of the downside. I was going in too optimistic and just not thinking anything could go wrong, and then what happened was everything went wrong, and so it got me over the emotional hump.
Yeah, I think the initial barrier to is like being a little bit too naive and thinking like we're going to succeed no matter what. And there's a certain like good element to that, but then when you fail, it hurts so much, and like it's hard to get back up after that.
Yeah.
And I know our friendship took a toll too after that, because like me and Zach were like split apart for a little bit, because it's hard starting a business with a friend.
Yeah, let me just tell you this: don't start a business with a friend. Don't do it with family. Don't do it with friends, because then it gets ugly at times, and then you really don't want to be their friend for a while. Let's be honest.
Isn't it okay with families though? Like starting with families?
Hell no, dude. It gets real with family. It gets worse with family.
See, I have the other side of that, because my parents own pizza shops, and my dad's one of 18. But still, you can see it's not for the faint of heart. If you want to start a business with a friend or with a family member, you gotta know it's going to be hard, no matter what. Like your friendship's going to be tested, and your family is going to be tested.
Yeah,
like it's not going to be an easy thing.
It would seem like starting business with family like makes sense, but from what it looks like from Hector's side, it seems like his dad built an infrastructure for the whole family, and you guys just made it work. But what I saw when I was growing up was my dad's an entrepreneur too. He owns his own businesses, and they're doing well. But what I saw was he failed so many times when he tried to do it with my mom or when family was included. So when he buckled down and didn't include family, it worked. So not everybody's going to be able to make it out with doing it with family, and that's fine. But yeah, so I saw the other end of the stick.
Are you kind of Zach? Are you kind of like looking at it in a way like where you have like you're working with a family member and you're almost you have to hire them, and you almost kind of like don't want to fire them, because like you have like a connection in a way, and like they're in a way more important than the other employees that aren't actually related to you, just because of that kind of relationship.
Well, I don't hire shit. My dad does all that.
Oh yeah.
We don't hire family members anymore. But back when my dad started his very first pizzeria, my mom contributed, and I don't know, we had my older siblings there. When I was a little kid, I was not anywhere near the pizza shop, but they were all working there. And from all the stories I hear, it was just toxic, you know. My older siblings have a different father than my father, so they're working for somebody else's father. They're working for their stepdad, and then my mom was just, sometimes it would just get sticky. I don't know. I can't really explain it, but thank God I didn't have to experience it. All I know is we didn't really get the good end of family working together, which sucked, but it's all right.
It's also fascinating how like me, Zach, are, and like how different we are, because like both of our parents are immigrants and both own like pizza shops, and like going into LaSalle, you'd never expect us to be like, and like people would call us twins in the beginning of the year as well, which is not funny.
You guys like too?
Not really.
Oh, no. Not at all. Not at all.
Okay. That'd be kind of funny.
You see, that's senior EOL talking. Back in freshman year, we were twins.
That's funny. But what do you think caused this discourse between you guys when you were studying it? Like, you guys are obviously friends now, but like during this process, like what were the type of complications you guys were having
during our business?
Money. Mm-hmm. Biggest one, money.
Yeah, money.
And that's why family businesses are hard, because between a husband and a wife, money gets tough, that's the number one causing reason for divorce nowadays. And divorce is at like 40% or 50% nowadays. That's the rate of divorce in America. And you look at the number one reason, it's money. And that's why I say family businesses are hard. You get a man and wife together, they start a business, money gets tough, shit gets toxic, and shit falls apart.
That's why also the best time to start a business is like when you're young and like you have no family to take care of, and like you could risk it all.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Wait, do you guys have any like regrets for that one business? Do you like regret doing it, or would you do you appreciate like kind of like what you learned from it and stuff like that?
Personally, I don't regret doing it at all, but probably I learned a lot throughout. Like, I think I learned immensely in those like couple months that we were doing that online, but I can't speak for Zach.
I'd say just do more research before doing an online business, because you come across a YouTube video and this guy teaches you how to make money, and it seems all glamorous on the outside, and it's really not. There's so many counterparts in doing an online business and being successful in it, and you just got to do your research. I'm sure if we would have kept going and changed up the product.
Also, if we had more cash.
Yeah, cash. Too. To be honest, I put in like 150, but Hector put in like 1,000. I still owe him money to this day, and I'm not afraid to say that. But that's how it went. Like, I mean, to be honest, let me put it out there. Hector dragged me into this business. I told him I didn't want to do it, and he was like, "It's okay, you can pay me back," and I still have yet to pay him back. But yeah.
So going back to how this business started, how did you guys build up the capital for starting a business like this? Like, I know you both work like crazy hours, so can you guys talk to us about that?
I mean, I was working probably like 40 hours a week on top of school for my parents. Like,
and this was at one of the pizza stores.
Yeah, at the pizza shops and stuff. So I'd be running the social media, I remember I had to redesign a bunch of websites for them and set up online ordering in all the pizza shops. I ended up setting up Uber Eats on every pizza shop and like doing like a lot of like the e-commerce sort of like internet sides to the business.
Got you. What about you, Zach?
I work like, let me do the math, 17, 25. I work about like 40 to 45 hours a week, school or not. And I just work in the business. I think what Hector did was smarter. not only do you make more money yourself, but you'll make more money for the business. So I think I might lean into that soon.
So how do you guys balance that with school life? Like, how do you do 40 plus hours and school?
You don't.
Yeah.
Balance is an illusion. I'm serious. Balance is an illusion because if you're gonna be working, if you're gonna dedicate 40 hours a week to working, it's either you pick school or you pick like pursuing work. But like it's you can't balance. You can't. There's no way. I don't think unless you're a freak of a human. And there's very few people. I don't think there's any way to balance working 40 hours a week with school. There's just no way.
Yeah, splitting your energy levels between different things is extremely hard to, like, you know, get stuff done and like just get better at what you're doing. The way I look at it is I value getting some work experience and getting dirt under my fingers over school, and I don't see the value of getting a college education. So I'm on the work side.
Well, we'll dive into that in a bit, but like, so did you guys attempt to balance school at least? Like, you both are very smart individuals. So how did you guys like cope with this process?
I definitely tried to balance and I put my effort into school at the same time that I was working. But the problem is like it only becomes too much where you just become burnt out. So like you're working 40 hours a week and doing school and like trying to balance out. It becomes like to the point where you just like become overwhelmed and like you don't want to do shit. So then you don't start doing anything for school and then you don't start working at all. So then you just like want to close yourself in, which is like when you get like mentally, you're just tired. And like it's the worst feeling ever because you fall in a rut and like depression and stuff.
Wow. So would you say that you've had like a bunch of low times through like your high school career so far, both of like work and school?
I think only my junior year into like my first semester of senior year. Okay. But then after my second semester of senior year, I kind of like got out of it.
Okay.
But it's definitely not like a V shape where it just goes all the way back up. Like it's definitely a struggle to get back up.
And what usually helps you like just to get back on track if you ever hit a rut? Getting out, just like leaving the house, not staying inside the house. Sort of just going out, seeing friends, and like sort of seeing like other things. That's what sort of got me out.
Other things, wink, wink.
So, what about you, Zach? How did you cope with these long hours?
The way I looked at it was, I'll go hard at work, and then the next day, so I would go home late, but I wouldn't. Either I would work out before work or after work, and then I would go home and I would never do homework at home. I would always do homework in the morning, in between periods, during class, stuff like that. And the way I looked at it was I was going to do the bare minimum effort to get the grade that I could to pass, because all I wanted to do was get my diploma, and I still only want to get my diploma. The piece of paper isn't going to differ from, it's not really going to change if you have like a A or a B. I got my money from some colleges that I got into, and I didn't get accepted into others. And so now all I need is my paper to get to the next step if I want to pursue the next step. I don't want to pursue the next step of the education system. I think it's whack. I think it's a scam. I think everything about it is just terrible. Even the experience that you get from it in terms of social life, I think you could get a better social life experience elsewhere. So that's just my stance on college.
Speaking to that, I think the first 3 years of high school, I was in the same boat as Zach. But I think junior year and senior year, I've definitely shifted mindsets. And I don't think I know where I stand still to this day.
Which is fine.
So you want to get into a little bit about your college mindsets?
And you want to give us some context here, Zach? Like what? Okay, so what made you think this way, or what makes you think that college is not worth the investment?
All right. Where do I even start? There's so much to say. I could go on for an hour about this, and you know it.
First, give us like the brief version.
All right, I'll try to make it as short as possible. Give me 3 minutes. The money investment. My dad wasn't going to pay for my college, so that means I would have to get scholarships and take out loans. when I realized that maybe I might go to college, like that might be an option, I was already in a boat where I didn't have the best grades to get the most money. So that was out the window. Now I have to take out loans. I don't want to take out loans and pay the interest of the loans. So that was the first con. Second, the time investment. The 4 years of work, because when you go to college, you're not only partying, you have to put in work to achieve a certain level of grades to get your degree. The work that you put into college, you could put elsewhere. You could put all that energy elsewhere and get a much greater ROI on your time. So in terms of money and time, you get a much greater ROI doing something else in an entrepreneur sense, where college is just leading you on a different path. You're investing time and money into a path that I just don't want to pursue. I don't want to pursue anything that college has to offer. Even their entrepreneurship courses are scams. So where do I put my money and time? I put it in entrepreneurship and something that I find out I want to like, which is why or something where I find out where I want to do a certain, path, like I want to do a certain job or industry. So I just wanted to redirect my mindset into investing in my entrepreneurship career, not investing in the education system, which I think is a scam again.
So what makes you think that like the educational system is a scam? Like, why is a 4-year degree not worth, let's say, like the $40,000?
I say it's a scam because, first off, if you can't get a job, you can't file for bankruptcy if you don't have the money to pay for your tuitions. They'll practically never get forgiven if you ever need it. If you can't find a job, or even if you do get a low paying job, I just lost my train of thought really quickly.
But not like I went through that sort of rut, but then I sort of got like what my scholarship packages would be, and they paid like for like a 60% of my college, and I think my parents could pay about half, and I could probably pay half of that. So I'd only have to pay for a quarter. So my reasoning was it wouldn't hurt to go to college. But then, as Zach says, I do lose 4 years of just like learning, of getting out there and going like and failing a bunch of times.
Yes, there's no better education than actually going out there and just doing it yourself. That's the best type of education. That's better than reading books, better than podcasts and YouTube videos, better than college. That is the best type. Even if you go to college to learn how to be an artist, and then you go into the real world and find out how it is to be an artist, I'm sure a lot of people who have gotten that art degree would rather get their refund and go back in time and not go to college, because it just is better to go out in life and just do.
Now I'm gonna add like another dimension to what Zach said. Like if you realize, like when we're talking about like starting a business, a lot of like the stuff you learn is emotional, and it's not really like the biggest part of like starting a business and like or like going out there and failing a bunch of times and coming back is like learning how to control your emotions.
Yeah.
Because like something that college does, it like I know with like partying and all that, like makes you like run away from your emotions and not deal with it head on. And if you're 4 years in a sheltered like sort of like area, and then you go out, people get a 4-year degree and go to the real world, and then they're like hit with like a new hit, like it's just
with reality. College
is
reality. Cool. That's all it is.
Okay. But
I do see the other side, and there is education to that, but it's not worth $60,000 like it is now. Like it is very expensive for the amount of education, where you could learn a lot of it for like. There's a lot of classes you don't have to take in college. Like there's a lot of classes you're going to take that you're going to get a shitty professor. He's going to tell you to read the textbook, and you're going to hate every second of it. And you're just going to have to accept that to get your degree. And it's a mandatory credit.
But I think both of you, or not both of you, at least Zach, you have like this preconceived notion that as soon as you go to college and you graduate, you're not either going to make money or you're going to get a job that has a really low paying job.
I don't really see it in a sense of making money or losing money. I don't mind putting an investment in my education. What people don't understand is education doesn't have to be a college or a university or online schooling. Investing in And knowledge and experience could be paying a mentor or working for free for a mentor who could teach you the ropes, buying books. It doesn't have to be textbooks. It could be regular books. I just don't see the value in investing in an actual university, LaSalle University, Temple University. Even from a social aspect, I don't see any ROI out of anything. And the only thing that I might get out of it is the relationships and just things like that. But you could always network outside of a university.
Zach, do you think that in like the world we live in today, do you think that people that go through school and just end up with like high school diploma, do you think that they can properly function like in society, just like
100%?
But I mean, a lot of people now say like the college degree is not even worth as much as it is anymore. Like people need to go beyond that. They need to get like a master's or a PhD.
I disagree. I just think it depends on who you are. I'm not fully dissing the education system. I'm saying it's not for me. That doesn't mean it's not for all three of you other guys. I know it's not for Hector, but he has yet to find that out. That's his own journey. But for well, I know. What are you going for? What do you want to do in life? What do you want to pursue that requires education?
I mean, the end goal would be like start a hedge fund and invest in developing countries in Africa. Okay. And if I don't have like the networking opportunities, or if I don't have like a knowledge in basic economics or calculus to do like the quantitative stuff, like that's what my education is for. That's what like my 3 years.
That's okay. That's your perceived value. Not everybody will see the value in you just because you got that piece of paper, and that's just reality. And you can argue as much as you want on that topic and say you do need that piece of paper, but you really don't to manage a hedge fund. There's plenty of people out there who didn't get a college degree or did really shitty in college and still started something similar to what you're talking about right now.
Juxtaposed, there's plenty of people who did get a college degree and did start a hedge fund and are still successful. And I think the latter option is like the more popular one just because everyone does it, but it's also easier. Like, are you telling me that if okay, let's say you are example A and I'm example B, you don't go to college and you start a hedge fund, and I do go to college and start a hedge fund after my 3 years. So who is it easier for? Like, I don't understand how straight out of high school it's just easier for you.
I'm not arguing that it's easier. I'm arguing, my argument and my stance has been college is not for me because I would rather redirect funding and time into another path. And I don't see I don't see any value in the education system for me. What you guys are missing out on is for me, the part where I say, this is my life that I'm living, my years I'm living, this is my body, this is my mind, I don't.
Your body, your choice.
Listen, bro, chill. I just see the value, and people are gonna always try and give me a different reason to go. Oh, what if it's free? Low key, I still would probably deny that, to be honest, if I was given a free opportunity, and people would probably in the face for that. Dude, I didn't even look at the paper too much, but I saw LSU gave me a good amount of money, LaSalle University, and I opened the envelope and I was like, oh, okay, cool, and I put the envelope down like it was nothing. My dad saw it the other day. He was like, you're not going to college and you got all this money, and I was like, yeah, and he gets angry all the time, but even he sees value in college, but can't even explain it. He tells me, he'll give me bullshit reasons for why I should go, and I always argue back. Like, I always give him a reason for why I shouldn't go that combats why he told me I should go, and I always win. And then it goes from him giving me reasons to go to him just getting mad and telling me just go to college just to go.
The other part is,
and before you go, Hector, I'm at a point right now where he could even kick me out, and my finances are in check, and I have emergency funds, and I have portfolios in place ready for me to go. If I need to move out, I can move out, and I can afford to do that, and I have the work ethic and drive to survive in the real world.
I know, like, the topic Zach's moving on into is pressure, because I don't know if I want to go to college for me or if it is for another person. Like, if it is for like the school that we're put into, and like they're forcing us, or like sort of like preparing us to go to college, which it is a college prep school.
Yeah.
Also, the idea of like my parents being immigrants coming to this country, not having the opportunity to go to college, and then me basically throwing out this opportunity that they gave me, and it's basically like a kick in the throat in a sort of way. Like we don't, but like at the end of the day, it's always it's a fight against what I want to choose versus like what I think I want to choose versus like the pressures from outside that are like shaping my mind in a sort of way.
I think what you guys are getting at is like, I guess the silver lining would be like kind of knowing yourself enough to like to just to know what do you want to put into your own value and like what do you want to do in order to develop yourself. I mean, if you get to that point where you actually are able to see what is best for you, I mean, I think that's pretty good. It's pretty impressive.
Also, let me throw in there, Hector, you said it's an opportunity that your immigrant parents were able to come over here. Just the first opportunity was just growing up in America. I don't see a lot of people are going to disagree with this. Maybe a lot of the listeners, whoever's listening, they're probably going to disagree with me and hate me for this. But it's tough for immigrants to come over here, and a lot of immigrant kids will think that the opportunity is in college, but that could just be self-destructing yourself. You could be sabotaging yourself if you don't know yourself. You could be looking at it as an opportunity, but in reality, it might not be an opportunity. The opportunity is that you grew up in America in a time where the internet exists and you have a high enough EQ and IQ to go about life that they were able to give to you. And so, yeah, I just think it's all like, again, it's all about perceived value and what you see as an opportunity and where you're headed in life. What do you need? Like, you need to write down a list of why you need to go to college. What are you getting straight out of college? What is your direct ROI? And then look at the cons. What is slowing you down and what is unhealthy from college? And then weigh out the options. That's what I did.
That's I feel like that's pretty well thought out. But now this is a general question for anybody. Why do you think we as a society have this notion that like college is mandatory? Like, why do we need this higher level of education?
I know exactly why. Back when college came up out of nowhere, this was in the Industrial Revolution when this new way of learning was put out there, which is straight rows, kids in desks. And
well, first of all, it was also like during like World War II, it was sort of like the push because like if you had a college degree, it put you far ahead of anyone else in your like it gave you a competitive advantage in the labor force. And now today, you're going to college, everyone else is going to college, and it doesn't really give you the edge that once was before. Also, if you really know yourself and believe in yourself, you could honestly achieve that without college. If you don't want to be an employee, right? The asterisk is if you don't want to be a doctor or a lawyer, because there are some people that need college that want to be doctors and lawyers and all that.
Yeah, and aside from competitive advantage, I'd also say what could play a role is that technology advances in society have changed everything. A lot of schooling nowadays is just memorizing things or reading a book about a writer, like reading like a whole different language in a book, like Shakespearean language or whatever. I don't see the value in learning about Shakespeare tragedies, and I also don't see the value in memorizing U.S. history or world history because guess what I have in my hand? Google. Siri. I have all that in my hand. I don't see the value in memorizing. I see value in working on your emotional intelligence and working on technical skills that you can beat around the edge and just get better at different skills in life. And
now
I memorizing things about the World War II.
I come from the flip side because I sort of like had a little like I pursued filmmaking as like a sort of a creative outlet for mine, and like also like Shakespeare and all that, or parts of stuff when you're screenplaying and like when you're screenwriting and stuff are stuff you need to like understand how a story works and how people understand emotions, how people introduce heroes and how heroes or anti-heroes, like the tragedies, fall from like their height.
And I think literature in general is it's not meant for everyone. Like everyone interprets it pretty differently.
But
And
also,
Shakespeare especially that's like for a niche group. So
but also to support Zach's point, I have done a lot. What have I learned? Like, my bad. But I have learned a lot from online, like how to edit. It's not something I learned from school, even though we have courses on that. Like, it's something you look up tutorials and stuff, and like photography as well, is you look up a YouTube video of how to like shoot pictures, and like honestly, also economics, all these different stuff, stock, investing in stocks, all these things are stuff you can learn online. Like, it's not exclusive to anymore a school system. Like, if you're interested about history of like entrepreneurs and stuff, you can watch like a biographical YouTube video about their life.
Biograph. That's a great
Yeah.
channel.
I have a question for both Hector and Zach. Since you guys are both kind of like pursuing the entrepreneurship route in life, I guess, right now, do you guys think it's possible to to go through college while also having a business, or is that just almost kind of like setting you up for failure, since you can't really like put the same amount of effort into both equally?
So we've seen, like, I mean, I can speak for myself, but like I've sort of seen like the effects you have on like putting 40 hours a week in work, and then also having school. Like, you're gonna have to pick one or the other, and unfortunately, it always ends in like being overwhelmed or just a burnout, and then it never ends good for your like mental health.
Mm-hmm. Well, I would say that you could do both theoretically. I wouldn't. But also, if you do both, you're not going to reach the level of success or tunnel vision work if you're doing both at the same time. I look at life as like an energy level. Like, you have a full bar of health when you're eating healthy, working out, and just living a healthy lifestyle. And when you have that full bar, you have more to work with. And let's just say theoretically you do have that full bar. Well, that means you're just going to do better at college and better at your business. But let's say you don't have that full bar, where you're eating shitty, you're not working out, you're not getting healthy sleep, like, with a cool room and whatnot. You're not going to be able to attain the same goals. And if you get that energy level up and you just ditch college and focus all your energy on one thing, it'll just skyrocket. It'll just do better. Or even if it's a failure, you'll understand where your failure was coming from, and then you can work on that part of life. Or of
also college, and I think college in general also promotes sort of a level of procrastination. Like, even in high school, like just like not doing your assignments until the last minute, because you sort of like you just go into a little rut of just procrastination, which never helps with like the achievements you want to achieve in like your own personal life or your business. And I mean, that's my opinion.
So, do you think it's like possible? Like, I wonder if you could go through college, have your own business, and maybe it's possible to gain that experience. Well, I understand that you guys are saying like, that energy, you can't really put the same energy, you're probably going to might burn yourself out. But I mean, I guess you could kind of pay part of your college from what you're making while also getting that experience.
Yeah. I mean, I think the reason I wanted to go to college, and I still think I wanted to go, is probably the St. Joe's University offers an internship at Wawa, or like companies like that, like where you'd have a higher chance of getting an internship through a college instead of doing it yourself. And like, colleges do offer a lot of like valuable stuff, but also the price tag and the distractions and the level of procrastination that you'll like experience in college does not help in like throughout life. I mean, I still, like I said in the beginning, is like, I'm still evaluating these options, and I'm not nearly onto one side to the other. Like, first 3 years of high school, I was just exactly like Zach, like college and school has no value. But now, kind of weighing my options, And it's partly because I'm a different financial situation where I could go to college and not be in debt.
Okay.
That's interesting. But can you guys also talk to us about like when you weren't able to balance, your work and school life, like how you guys would burn out, and how did you come back from like an experience like that? Because I know, Hector, you were dealing with a lot at one point, weren't you?
Yeah, I think I think we had a retreat for school, and it was like it's Kairos, and that really helped me latter of junior year, as it sort of like paused my life and sort of like allowed me to take the time to reflect on myself and knowing myself better. And I think that's the beauty of like that one retreat we have in that school, is it does offer that opportunity to like look into yourself and like know yourself a little bit better.
So something that was like very introspective, that makes you reflect, is what makes you like, that allows you to recuperate from an experience like that.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm kind of curious about what you guys what would you guys describe are like your main assets personally that I guess gives you that drive as an entrepreneur and in business. Like, what are your qualities that you would say helps you out the most?
Go ahead, Hector.
I think I'm a jack of all trades. I can do practically everything. Like when we're starting a business, like we don't have to hire this person because I'll do it, and I'll figure out a way to do it, and I'll learn it. Like graphic design, picked it up in about 4 hours. You learned it. Or just like how to use Photoshop and stuff like that, and like how to make a website, how to take pictures, do all these things. Like I think I have a quick turnaround of learning stuff, and I think that's an asset that I have.
Yeah, to that point, I don't think I've ever met anyone as like well versed in everything as Hector. So shout out to you, man.
Nice. What about you, Zach? You got anything?
I'd say, I'm self-aware. I'm resilient, and I'm humble, and I have a lot of humility. I'm sure that's the same thing, but what I say is like for example, when I sold candy in high school, I didn't care about people's opinions. There was a lot of people talking shit, and I just didn't let it get to me. So that's where the humility comes in. And then I'd say in terms of resilience and self-awareness, I know what I'm good at and I know what I'm not good at. For example, I'm very analytical and technical. And to be honest, I know like EQ is important in life and in getting ahead, and it's probably more important than IQ. But I say I have more IQ than I do EQ, because there's times where I'll make a joke, or I'll be sarcastic and say something offensive, and I would think that the other person is like laughing with me or they get the joke, but a lot of times I actually offend people. So that's where and I'm self-aware about that. Like I know, like after somebody tells me straight up, like, oh, you hurt my feelings or whatever, like that got to me, you should probably be a little bit more respectful. That's when I like step back and I realize I'm like, oh shit, I can't say that anymore. I gotta watch myself. I can't, it's just, people are just so get so offended nowadays. So that's just something I have to work on, and something you just can't learn from a book. You have to get that out of life. EQ, you're either naturally born with it or you get it out of life and experience. So I just know I have to work on that. But from an analytical and technical standpoint, I can learn something real quick. I'm good with numbers, just stuff like that. I know I could just get ahead with that.
Speaking on what like Zach said, he's very self-aware to the point where like I find myself where I'm in a rut where I don't really know myself, and he'll pull me out of that rut because he knows where like how to get out of that rut. And I think that attributes to our friendship, and I think it's a great like sort of exchange we have, me and him.
And shout out my older brother if you're listening. I got all my self-awareness from him and Gary Vee. Those two people. My brother would always like what Hector just explained right there. I would freshman, sophomore, and some junior year, I would be telling my brother just stuff about life, and he'll like catch me and be like, what are you talking about, man? Like, be more self-aware, like understand what's going on,
Would you say you got a lot of those qualities from like your family? Like, and in addition to your brother, but like anything from your parents or,
Self-awareness. I just say I get that from my older brother who has a different father. So
Okay.
maybe he gets that from his father. I don't know, but I just know I got it from him because I was not self-aware before freshman year. I can tell you that. I didn't everything I said, like I just didn't care, but I also wasn't self-aware of what I was saying, like, and I didn't understand situations, and I couldn't read people when people just wouldn't want to hang around me. I couldn't read them. Now, if I'm well, coronavirus has ended school, but when we were in school, like if I would sit at a table where somebody just wouldn't fuck with me, I would understand, I would see it, and I would just go. And I think that's another trait of mine is that I just don't give a fuck. If you don't want to hang out with me, that's fine. I don't have to hang out with you, and I don't hang on to people. I'm not clingy.
Definitely for business for sure.
So, in light of all your experiences, what recommendation or advice would you guys have to someone who's trying to like reach your level of entrepreneurism? Like, how do you how would you motivate someone, or how do you what would you tell them to have a drive to succeed to the level that you guys have?
Well, I would just say if in terms of motivation, I don't think I ever get motivated. I just think it's natural for me. For example, I remember when I had a friend with me in my car, and I would just point out just random stuff like houses for sale or like cars for sale, or I'll see somebody selling something on the street in like Philly or just stuff like that. I noticed little shit like that. And when I would point that stuff out, my friend would be like, "Man, you're really analytical and you think really deep about business and stuff like that." Like I'll look at an empty lot and I'll just think about like the possibilities of how much money you can make. There's empty lots here in Northern Liberties where the property value is so high and it's just an empty lot with so much potential to just build like a store or a shopping center. And I just think of stuff like that. Maybe one day I'll get into that, but that's just what I've noticed. And in terms of being an entrepreneur, I don't think I mean, maybe it's something you can learn, but I don't think it's something you could have like too much of a passion on. Maybe that's just my one-sided take on that. I don't think entrepreneurship could be learned. I think it's something that comes natural.
Um, I think what helps me is my spontaneity. I think I will go into things, and it's a good thing and a bad thing. I will go into things without knowing like the full risks, and I will take risks like in the moment and pursue things. So like learning stuff, it's something I find cool, and I'll learn it real quick. Or starting a business, it'll take me a split second to start, and if I'm convinced and I like the product and I like the idea, and I'll do it. And I think the spontaneous part is a good thing and a bad thing, especially when it comes to like sort of like peer pressure and stuff, because it also makes me more susceptible to like things like that.
I think being spontaneous is great. It's always going to be great. I think the upside of being spontaneous compared to the downside is like insanely high. I think being spontaneous is just way better than like just anything. I don't know. That's a really good trait to have.
Real quick, so do you guys have any like entrepreneurial idols that you kind of like look up to, or people that you kind of want to follow in passion? I'm guessing Gary's probably one of them, right?
Yeah, Gary V, full on Gary V. Like just Gary. Like ever since the first time I watched him, his words have had a massive impact on me, and I appreciate everything that he's put out. And that's the only guy like I've truly like looked up to since the beginning of like listening to his content. Compared to anybody, like I used to watch like Ty Lopez, Grant Cardone, like gurus like that, and like those are all people who targeted me, and like I fell in love because like they make everything look so glamorous. I fell in love with like their lifestyles and just listening to what they had to say just because of what they have.
Yeah.
But that's not what it's about. And what I learned from Gary Vee is people from the outside who don't watch him think that he's all about like selling, all about making money, hardcore business shark. But what you don't see is when you watch his podcast, he's all about pushing love, humility, empathy, stuff like that. Things, traits for humans, that we need to survive and just thrive and just have a happier life. And at this moment in my life, I'm not looking at the money. Like earlier you said, I don't want to go to college because I think I can make more money somewhere else. I'm not looking at it from that, perspective. I'm looking at it from a perspective of happiness. I want to be happy. I want to move to LA, rent out the shittiest apartment in LA, the cheapest rent, and just find something I want to do, so that way I could tunnel vision that thing and have low overhead for living costs, and just live in a different location and just chase happiness.
There's definitely like a group of like entrepreneur like gurus that definitely like, as an early entrepreneur, like, or like an aspiring entrepreneur that I am, like, you sort of fall in the rut of watching Ty Lopez, Grant Cardone, and like sometimes you realize some of them are full of shit, some of them are like actually genuine, and I think I'll probably, because I have so many, I'll probably look at the recent one. Yesterday I watched the movie The Pursuit of Happiness with Will Smith, and it has this one dude, Christopher Gardner, who turns his life around and becomes the head of his own brokerage firm. And he's sort of like, the movie is him and Will Smith and Jaden like sort of being homeless for like the entirety of the movie, 90% of the movie, but he still had the drive, and like he used his son as motivation to sort of get out of that rut.
Yeah, so that's pretty much like the American dream, right? It's pretty much in there.
And highly recommend Pursuit of Happiness with Will Smith.
Yeah, that's a classic movie.
Yeah, really good movie.
Yeah, bro. I listen to Gary Vee a lot for sure too. The Daily V podcast, awesome to listen to. I really love how you just like, not only is he focused on business, but he also definitely focused on like personality and just like mentality in life. Doesn't even matter like what field of work, just in general. So yeah, definitely.
Is that what makes like Gary Vee so attractive? How he like speaks to everyone.
Yeah, mindset and just like how to like position one's like self to basically achieve what they want. Not just like, here's what you do. You go online. He does have that too, but it's more of mindset and emotional teaching than anything else.
The thing about Gary Vee is that he's pushing things that society just doesn't like have in mind. The things about empathy, humility, and happiness are not things that people think about every day. People will think about the next way to make their quick buck. People like Ty Lopez and the people who follow Ty Lopez think about the next trend that they can catch to make some money and hopefully score as a millionaire. And that's why I see Gary as such a real person, so authentic, because honestly, if he was faking it, Gary's the type of guy that he could fake it and blow up, and he would be the next Ty Lopez and get hundreds of millions of views on his ads. But that's how you know he's about it, how real he is, because if you look at his analytics, they're not that nice. They're not that good. And he could have faked his way to getting big numbers. And it's clear that that's not what he cares about, because, his numbers are really low, but he keeps posting the same shit.
Just look at all the gurus on YouTube. They have, like, once they start like getting a little bit popularity, they buy the Lamborghini to show off on their YouTube page to get more traction.
Gary has never showed off anything. He drove like a freaking Land Rover, and he showed it in his garage sailing video. Like, he doesn't talk. He's all about that mentality about like not buying dumb shit. He's the guy who talks about downgrade from owning a house, sell your house, and rent an apartment, because life is about happiness. You don't need that big house. What do you need a big house for with 8 extra rooms? Why do you need that? Because you're insecure and you want others to look at your life like it's glamorous. And that's not what life is about. Like, people are buying dumb shit to impress people that they don't care about.
He supports this like idea of financial minimalism, which is something that is sort of like the pendulum swinging from sort of the consumerism that we've had in the past.
Stop you there. He doesn't support financial minimalism. He supports being happy, which means if you really love that mansion and you're able to afford it easily, and you're making good money from doing what you love, and you're able to work from your big mansion. Let's say, for example, Logan Paul, he bought a massive mansion in LA, and he's running a content house, and it seems from the outside that he's living a good life. I can't really speak for him, but it's not that Gary pushes financial minimalism, because I watched a podcast where he was talking with the Houston Rockets owner, Tillman Fertitta, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that he doesn't like everybody buying dumb shit. It's, you have to have a why. Like, why are you buying dumb shit? Like, he's not mad at people for spending money on dumb shit, but what's your reason? Is it for you or is it for somebody else? And that's what he pushes. He doesn't push financial minimalism. He pushes, what's your why? Why are you happy? What makes you happy? Do that. And why are you buying certain shit?
Yeah, man.
Why are you investing in certain shit? You know, why are you just doing everything? Every little thing in life, why are you doing it? It has to have a why.
Yeah, if you genuinely are interested in like nice cars, you know, how they work and things like that, like that's worth the investment if if that's what you're really interested in. I think he always points out that little analogy of like would you rather be like crying in your Ferrari or like smiling in your Honda Civic or something like that. That kind of idea. Do you guys think that you kind of like learned? I guess mainly Zach, but also Hector. Do you guys kind of like learn to deal with like the negativity or deal with the people that are like yabbing in your ear, talking about the way that they think that you should be going through your life? Do you think that like listening to Gary Vee kind of helped you with that?
I think the main thing that helps is empathy, because I've also been that person yabbing, and I know for sure Zach's ear.
Yeah.
And but definitely having empathy, because you don't know what the other person's going through.
Yeah.
And maybe they're putting you down because they're going through some stuff in their life that they have to deal with them themselves. So just knowing that everyone has their own like journey and their own journey to like find where they're coming from.
Yeah, empathy could definitely help with that. Empathy could show you maybe they're going through something, or maybe they have a regret in life. For example, my aunt never went to college, and she had the chance to go. She didn't go. Now she regrets her life because the way she went about life, and she always tries to scare me into going to college. But I really just don't think college is like the foundation to life. There's many ways to find a foundation, and I think that's by finding yourself and knowing what you want to do. And just those two things right there, you're already 10 years ahead. You're already 40 years ahead of everybody. You know, there's a lot of teachers and like people out there in my life, and just grown people, grown ass men and women who love to give you advice, but they haven't even found themselves yet. Like my aunt has not found. She's so lost in life. She thinks she has it down. I don't even know how old she is. I think she's in her like mid 50s, low 50s, and she thinks she has it down. She doesn't have shit down, and I can tell.
Wow.
And I'm sure you guys have people in your lives who don't have shit down, but they try and give you advice.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I feel like we're never gonna figure everything out. So all we can do now is just help each other.
I mean, it's always learning from perspectives what people do. And even if you think they don't have stuff down, even listening to them advice, seeing where they're coming from, and understanding that thought pattern definitely can like inform you on your thought pattern and how to adapt your thought pattern to basically achieve a better like sort of mindset sort of way.
Yeah, for sure. But moving on from that subject, I know both of you have put your money into certain, companies, different investments and stuff. So can you guys like talk to us more about that? Like, what have you put your money into? Maybe like
what did you put your money into? Tell us first.
Real estate. Me personally, okay.
Reverse card.
I'm
This is our podcast now.
Wow, I've just been taken over. Okay. So I'm currently in the works of trying to buy my first property in North Philly. So that's exciting. Real estate. And then I have like this really diverse portfolio with Fidelity. And this is all self-funded, by the way. Like for the past
Love it.
4 months, I've been working at this vegan place, like 20 hours a week. And then I've had some like passive income as well. So that's helped. But yeah, I think through stocks, ETFs, and real estate, that's where most of my passive income comes from. But what about you guys?
So, I mean,
I want to go back to that property that you're going to be buying in North Philly. Let's talk about the numbers on that, because I think people would be interested in the numbers on buying a property and investing.
Well, I'm still in the looking phase. Like I've raised the capital, but it's just choosing the location right now is the biggest hurdle.
You said North Philly. Where in North Philly? Or is it just Philly?
It's North Philly, like near Temple, near Broad Street.
So let's talk about this more. So how much funding do you have now?
I really don't want to get into the specifics here.
Come on. You don't want to talk about real estate on an entrepreneur podcast. See that?
So
I mean, okay. I just don't want to throw out numbers.
All right, we don't have to talk about numbers. What type of real estate are you investing in? Rental income, flipping a property, wholesaling? What are you looking into?
Yeah, so right now, since I'm barely getting this capital by itself, so I'm trying to just buy the property and being able to rent it out for the next 4 years. So I have like a passive income while I'm at college. And then after, I'll be able to like develop it into something bigger, something maybe I can buy the house behind it, make it like an apartment complex. Just grow the land as much as I can, just like basically saturate it for all its profit. And then it's like every investment I make, I think long term. So like if I ever buy a stock or if I ever buy an investment or like a real estate investment, it's all about long term growth. So I mean, nothing I buy, like I don't sell that for like 10 to 15 years. So I haven't really sold anything yet. So I don't know what my return on investment will be, but yeah, that's my thinking.
I mean, I've been taking advantage of this dip in the stock market. I've been going all out in China. So I think Tesla, before the dip, Tesla basically lost me about, I think, $1,700, that hurt. Yeah. I had 7 shares of Tesla and it just plummeted.
We need to talk about how Hector convinced me to buy Tesla when it was at like short term and you're day trading, or if you're trading for like a month or so. I mean, yeah, I don't know if I would pick that stock, but I guarantee you, if we listen to this back in a year, we're gonna be like, wow, I can't even remember when Tesla was at like 580.
Dude, TikTok had the greatest video on Tesla. It was like, Elon Musk owns the company, full 180. But Elon Musk owns the company, full 180. And it's like, you just never know what's going to happen with Tesla. It's like, there's such pros, but then it just absolutely rapes you in price. Like, it's not fun.
Just not
consistent. And even when you're investing long-term, Elo, you still want to get the best price. You don't want to just overpay just because it's going to go up in a year. You still want to get that advantage on the price. And we're in such a volatile market that you can't predict when you're going to buy the bottom. So that's why I'm waiting it out. And if I miss Tesla, I miss Tesla. That's fine, because I'm already invested in other companies, and I'm sure everything's going to dip again. People are already getting their $1,200 stimulus check
already.
So I know some people who are getting their checks already. It's crazy. People are getting their direct deposit. They have cash on hand, $1,200. So this is a real thing. People are saying it's fake, it's a hoax, or it hasn't been passed. People are getting their cash, people. All right, so that's going to have an effect on the markets. And guess what? Everybody's going to go to their normal life after they spend their whole check. All these people who are getting these checks are people who were making less than $75,000 a year anyway. Mm-hmm. What do you think they're going to do? They're going to go and spend that shit. They're not using it for necessities. They're using it to just spend on bullshit. And
I mean, that's the idea that's the idea the economists have, though. The more consumerism, the more you buy, the more the economy keeps going.
Yeah, but guess what happens after everybody spends their money? The markets go right back down, baby, and that's when
it's multiplier effect.
You know how cats are like jumpy. Like the cat eventually has to go down. I don't know. Someone made that analogy to me earlier today.
That's some communist shit right there. I'm not gonna lie, but no, hold up. So the idea is, if more people spend and more people buy stuff in the economy, then those people that make those products get employed, and the people that own this company get employed, get a job, and the people that also sell the materials to that company get employed. So every time you spend $1, it's more like $8 into the economy.
But you guys are forgetting the biggest thing, like why we are at our homes right now. People are not able to make these products. That's the problem.
No, there's also a lot of people can buy stuff right now, like online,
like Amazon
and stuff like that.
But still, it's gonna take longer. Like, I don't know if the demand for consumerism products are that high. I feel like the stimulus bill was meant to.
I don't know. Nintendo Switches have been selling out everywhere. I think Nintendo is facing a lawsuit for selling them during the quarantine.
I feel like you guys are extrapolating. I don't know, extrapolating here, because you see the small sample of people who are buying.
Sorry, define that word. I don't know that word.
I was gonna say the same thing.
It's like when you take a small sample of something and you just like assume that it's the same around everything else. That is a terrible definition. But
Well, the reality is people are sitting inside their homes and they're bored as shit. And when you have a little bit of extra spending money and you paid your rent and you live with your mom and you paid all this stuff, now you're just going to be a consumer.
Hey, you might get that new Netflix subscription. You might get that Spotify subscription. It doesn't have to be a product.
Yeah, you have to understand the mindset behind these people who are getting these checks. They're getting the check for a reason.
I mean, I'm not gonna generalize like Zach is doing right now, but I'm saying if you're not thinking that these people that are getting these checks are not spending it on a new like Hulu or Disney Plus subscription, like they're going to be spending on every single product. The idea is to get the money into consumers so they can spend, and people that are working at these companies can get employed. Yes, that's the whole point. It's a little circulation. It's they're pumping money in for a reason so it can circulate. The thing is, once those $1,200 are spent and they're put into hands, those people are going to hoard the money or invest it elsewhere, and that's where people get this $1,200 stimulus fucked up. It's going to cause too much inflation. I don't know about that. I think it's going to be I think it's going to be immensely helpful to recovering the economy. Right now, when people can't even go back to work, people are sitting on their ass at home all day. The production levels aren't going to go up by that much from this $1,200 stimulus, and when people spend their $1,200, it's going right back down. People are going to be employed for a short amount of time.
But you also have the problem of like not everybody will get their $1,200. Like you really know how long it's going to take for every single person who's in that certain tax bracket to receive their money.
Well, I don't understand what you're saying. Are you saying it's going to take a long time, or are you saying not many people are going to get it?
I'm saying it will take a long time.
So I don't know. You're getting it right. Is it going to take a long time? A lot of people. I think this is sort of like a thing where we just have to wait and see, because it's going to be over the next 3 months, and we never know what's going to happen. Yeah. Like we could argue all day about this, but it's like it whatever happens, it happens.
That's fair. I mean, you could say that about the economy in general, but yeah, no, I do see your point.
If the people that got those stimulus checks, if they were to invest it, do you think that would be still be worthwhile for the economy or no? Like
I think something in econ that you learn is that sort of investing in sort of is only a transfer payment, so it's not actually part of GDP. So it doesn't increase GDP when you put it into the stock market. So in a technical aspect, if all the people that got their $1,200 put it into the economy or put it into the stock market, it doesn't affect GDP at all.
But what does that mean for our economy, though, if it doesn't affect the GDP?
That means it's better for the consumers that receive these $1,200 to spend it, because that's the idea on maybe their bills and stuff to help them out, but to keep the economy going and not sort of like letting the economy die in a sort of way. Pay their rent with it.
They don't want 2008.
But we don't want them to basically foreclose or on their home mortgage or their rent to get kicked out of their house, right?
Exactly. But I mean, people are already filing for bankruptcy or unemployment. And
you know what's wild? AMC theaters might file for bankruptcy. I think Dave & Buster's might file for bankruptcy.
What?
A lot of huge companies are like on the border of like they have a month and they're done.
Yeah, but
Delta as well.
Yeah, I heard. I think it was you who told me that Warren Buffett just sold his Delta and Southwest stocks.
Yeah, I mean, he bought it like a month ago, and he's already selling it. Like, imagine the man that never sells, or like he's like all long term, buying it last month and selling it at the lowest point.
Yeah, that's bad. That means he really gave up.
Well, no, he still owns like a lot of the company.
I think he's playing chess, and we're looking at it like he's playing checkers. I think he's being really strategic, and we're missing what he's doing. He's not trading everything publicly, so I can't really analyze what he's doing. But I think he's
like one of the things is like a lot of people
out of business. That's all I'm saying.
He's sitting on $228 billion in cash. So if he needed the cash, he has it. So it's not like he needs the money to liquidate the stock. Maybe he just doesn't like that stock.
But also before he sold, the only reason we found out he sold was because he owned more than 10%. The SEC requires that if you own more than 10% of a company, you need to, put all the files out there.
But he also owns 10% into a lot of companies.
Once you're below
so
that,
I don't think that's a problem.
Once you're below that 10%, you no longer have to file anything. You don't have to tell anybody shit.
Yeah, I see.
Shareholders in Berkshire Hathaway. So I think he's being strategic. Who knows? Maybe you guys are right.
He's selling all his shares right now, and we don't know it because now he doesn't have to disclose it.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying he's being strategic. Maybe he sold, so now he only owns 9.9% of the company. And so now he's making all these moves with his cash, moving it around, and we don't see it because he's owning less than 10% of all these companies. He's probably buying up so many companies that we don't know about right now. And we won't even find out until his shareholder meeting. And he only holds that once a year.
It's May 1st. It's May 1st.
Yeah, and then after that, we're not going to find out for another year. So it's like, okay.
Yeah, that's wild. That man is
during a recession.
He's making some money moves. I'd recommend buying some Berkshire Hathaway.
Yeah,
which is $4 million a share, by the way.
You can buy the B.
Also, Robinhood just included fractional shares. So if you want to buy some Robinhood,
fuck
or buy into Robinhood,
yeah, bro.
Use my code Hector Guerras. No.
Are you just gonna plug yourself, Hector? Is that what's happening?
Nah, just kidding.
But seriously, Warren Buffett is like one of the. He's like a Rockefeller, Vanderbilt-esque. Like he has a monopoly on like the finance world almost.
Yeah. I think he's more of a JP Morgan as like a banker type. He sort of like buys into companies. Because if you think about JP Morgan bought Vanderbilt and he sort of like consolidated a lot of them. Remember Vanderbilt was the first like billionaire.
Yeah.
And then he sort of like went down and then JP Morgan comes in and buys out Vanderbilt.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Warren Buffett's more of a JP Morgan type than anything else.
Yeah, Warren Buffett
also
go ahead.
The idea, like, we're comparing him to JP Morgan. Warren Buffett is like $80 billion. JP Morgan is probably like miles ahead of him. It's like Rockefeller was like 500 billion. That's like 5 times Bezos.
Even in money back then, that is with inflation or inflation, like.
But I mean, you guys have to remember these guys own monopolies on everything. Like Vanderbilt had his monopoly on steel. Rockefeller had like his monopoly on his, resource. Like these guys were like the only ones doing it during their time. And I think that's like, I know, but Hector and Menelik, you guys are both reading Outliers, and Malcolm Gladwell gets into like the gritty of like why they were so successful during their time. And it's because like they were born during the right era. Like they had the enough, like, like what Zach was saying earlier, they had like enough experience because of, their dad or their friends like starting something that when they were older, they were able to, start something as global as Rockefeller or, what Vanderbilt is today.
Bro, Warren Buffett's still like a regular human being too. I mean, he does own Dairy Queen, but that man still goes to like McDonald's for breakfast, and he's just like a regular dude. But
have you seen the Cadillac that he drives or something? It's like super old.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's not like an antique. It's just like he doesn't want to buy it.
Financial minimalism.
There we go, baby.
Bro, do you guys think that you have to like, in a way, be born in a certain time period where you can capitalize the most? I mean, like you guys are like talking about the those big business tycoons from back during the time when being an entrepreneur with the right skill set and capital really helped you out a lot. Do you think that like, are you guys kind of like trying to do that right now, where you're like waiting for the right time, or full steam ahead?
Well, the best time is 10 years ago.
10 years.
So facts.
I think today is the best time.
You optimist.
I mean, it is.
Well, it is. Prices were like from 10 years ago, like a couple days ago. So
I mean, that's fair. I mean, not actually though, because you can't buy the Amazon share for what it was 10 years ago.
Nah, but Amazon's just killing it during this time.
I know, and it's making me so sad.
And I don't want to buy it. I don't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole because it's $1,900, and and it's already overpriced.
Robinhood has fraction shares, so you could buy a fraction of Amazon now. Apparently.
A fraction of a fraction.
Exactly.
We can put $10 into Amazon real quick.
Yeah, but should I put my $10 into that, or should I put it into Berkshire Hathaway?
Berkshire, bro.
Yeah, for real.
They're all wrong. I think Jeff Bezos.
They were at like 130, I think, and then they jumped up back to 230. The B stock.
It's insane.
Jeff Bezos is dealing with all the protests and stuff from the workers.
Wait, what did you say? I'm sorry.
No, I was saying you guys were talking about Amazon versus Berkshire. I mean, Amazon has to deal with all these like protests going on with their workers and things. So it's kind of like they're kind of upset. But
also, they're working during the coronavirus.
Yeah.
So if they're protesting, like they could get sick, and like factories can go out by one. If like Amazon's not being good with like hygiene and stuff.
No, they are. The video Jeff Bezos posted on his Instagram.
I know. I saw it.
No, hold up.
Your temperature checked, your eyes checked, your throat checked, everything checked, and then you go to work.
Yeah. Wait, can we talk about how Amazon has been abusing its people since it started? Like, have you heard of like their crazy bathroom breaks and everything?
No.
They get paid well. They get paid.
I actually have a cousin that works for Tesla. Not Tesla. Amazon.
Like a delivery driver?
No, he's actually he walks the floor, so he picks up the packages. He works for my dad's pizza shop, and he says he walks about 20 miles a day, which is absolutely crazy.
In the factory,
like just in the factory, picking up items and putting into like the shopping cart to send it out. And it's like you have like it's like an insane like demanding job, but it's like I feel like if there are people that do want to have that job, because it's like he's insanely in shape. Like
and I think that was recently too. Like I don't think he's always been that size. I think as he accumulated more wealth, he started focusing more time on himself.
No, my cousin. Talking about my cousin. No, my cousin walks like 20 miles a day because he works for Amazon. He has to pick up the items off the shelf.
Awkward.
Stuff.
like, is he paid too?
He gets paid like I think it's like $25 an hour, and then if he works overtime, it's like crazy.
You see, that's why they get paid so well. It's because I mean, the working conditions aren't terrible. I mean, they're working. That's what work is. You got to work, and they're getting paid $25 an hour. That's not terrible.
But I definitely see if like you're out of shape in a sort of way, like 20 miles a day without any like prior training, like it's a lot.
That is a lot. But I mean, also you want to work for a management that like treats their employees well. I mean,
I'm sure Amazon workers have their benefits, do they?
Yeah, they get sold. I think he owns a couple shares of Amazon because of it. Wow. He gets gifted like shares of Amazon.
No, wait, he gets paid in shares. Oh, wait. I heard that Amazon employees get paid in shares.
Yeah.
Which is why their like stock buyback is like insane.
That's how they I think that's how they achieved zero taxes, because they paid half their salary in like stocks. So they had all their like they gave away, so it didn't cost them anything to gift the shares, but they had it as a tax write-off.
Oh my god, that's so spooky. That's
when employees sell it, they have to pay taxes on it.
Yeah, but when you give like shares in the company, it's like they can just create it out of thin air.
Yeah. Wait, so what happens when the company goes down? People lose their original salary pay?
Yeah, like if you get a share in like some startup, like it doesn't really matter, because like if you're in a startup and you get some like percentage and that startup like fails, then you got nothing. But if you get it, like I know like one of my dad's friends that he worked like 30 years for Wawa and like just like a manager for a store. Mm-hmm. It's just like a manager for a local store. And he got like shares at $200, and now they're worth like $18,000.
Sheesh. But then again, on the flip side, like what happens if you were paid this month your salary in Amazon shares, but then Amazon dips? So instead of like the $5,000 for the week, you get $3,000. Like, how is that fair? You're just losing money.
Wait, that's what stocks are. You know, they're always going to go back up. It's not like it's going to stay down forever.
I mean, think about it. Which would you rather have be paid in shares of Tesla, or be paid shares in Amazon?
Wait, can you say that again? Be paid shares.
Would you rather be shared? Would you rather be paid shares in Tesla or be paid shares in Amazon?
Are you saying one's more consistent? Is that what you're saying? Like,
yeah, I think like I'd rather accept the payment for Amazon because Amazon's trending upwards always and has been higher than Tesla. Like it's been on a consistent, and Tesla's been up and down, up and down, up and down.
Yeah, but Tesla also runs its own monopoly on certain things, like their cars. And Menelik and Hector, I feel like you guys are both like fans of that whole thing.
What, the electric car?
Yeah, because I know.
I mean, I don't think it's a monopoly because there is. If you see the Porsche Taycan,
what other electric cars do you see on the road today?
There's hybrid.
I see the Chevy Bolt. I see the Panamera.
Okay, that's fair. But you really think those models are taking margins out of Tesla? Like, I feel like if you are buying an electric car, there's one manufacturer to go to.
No, I think Tesla definitely has the competitive advantage, but doesn't mean it has a monopoly.
Okay, I'm saying it's pretty close to it at least.
What if they? Let's look it up.
Ewell, what would you equate Tesla's coverage in the market? Like, what percentage would you give it?
Oh, I'd give it a good 96%.
Jeez,
bro, you like?
I agree.
Do you see any other like Honda Chargers at like road stops and stuff?
I'm sorry, they do have a monopoly. Tesla accounted for 89% of U.S. EV sales in December.
Yeah, I was close. I was like 7%.
But when I looked it up, it said roughly 1.3% in the car sales.
Wait, what do you?
Oh, geez. Like in total car sales.
Is that a lot? I can't tell.
Yeah, that's actually pretty good. Like 1% of all sales is pretty good.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, that is definitely.
But they do have like 89% of like EV sales, which is crazy.
I have a question for you too. So, looking a little bit forward, whether or not it's, I guess, during this like quarantine period, or even after, so like, what kind of markets do you guys think are on the up, or are at least worth going into as an entrepreneur or a business person?
Content creation and online businesses.
Okay. So like content creation,
I think the big one is content creation.
Okay.
Just sort of, if you see all these real estate moguls that have businesses before, they're all getting into content creation. And I think us as a generation, like Gen Z, has such has a bigger opportunity than a lot of the other people to like document like where we come from and our process of achieving success. And that's sort of like the idea that me and Zach are sort of trying to achieve and sort of creating content, and the reason we want to start a podcast.
Get started.
By the way, our first podcast episode is going to be up on Monday.
Oh, this one?
No, our first. Me and Hector's first
one. Okay.
It's pretty much us talking about starting our podcast, which is pretty funny. It shows behind the scenes of like,
us arguing what we want to achieve out of the podcast.
Yeah, my idea about creation is that I want to document, because I feel like there's not many people documenting. There's not many high school, or like there's not many people in my position documenting their life. And if there are, I don't know of any, because I don't know many people out there that are, going through this period and also making videos about it.
Think about it like this: like if one day, God willing, we do achieve success,
inshallah,
we will have like the whole entire process of like from start to beginning, us documenting our way all the way up, which is immensely valuable for people who like listen to the content and like people to see like it wasn't an overnight thing.
Yeah, you guys will have like a little memento to show the children.
Yeah.
But getting back into the investment thing and like the emerging markets, like give us some like company names that are content creating that you guys are interested in investing in. Like Hector, I know we talked about how big the Airbnb IPO was going to be. I mean, I think they're pushing it back to next year or maybe even later. But their original IPO was supposed to come out in January of this year.
Yeah, poor Airbnb. I feel bad, but I mean, like they're like their business was so sound, like perfect, clear cutter. They were going to be a winner in the stock market, and then this happened. And I don't know if people will act the same now that they're not going to. I don't think they're going to buy into Airbnb as it wasn't before. Like now their numbers are down. Their S1 is going to be different. I don't know if the company's going to be the same after this. But in terms of content creation, I think like investing time towards content creation, I think TikTok is one of the biggest ones. TikTok, yeah. I know Zach's made a couple TikToks. I know I have made a couple TikToks.
Who has some? You guys got some blown up ones.
Not really, but I mean, I have like 30 followers, so you know.
Hey, shout out! Oh, you're dreaming and achieving.
Zach, what are you looking at now? What you got?
In terms of what?
Followers or looks?
Oh, I don't even know. Honestly, I only have 2 TikToks, and I only did them because they were fun. So I'm not going to do something I don't find fun.
I stand corrected. It's 33 followers.
Good for you, Hector.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You had 3 followers in 10 seconds, or were you just wrong the first time?
No, I was wrong the first time.
Okay.
Hector, do you think it's also? I know you're also into like where you're into photography, but also like video creation, right? Is that
Yeah.
So you think are you also going to go into just making more content for that too? Like I guess maybe YouTube and things like that.
Yeah. So what I have to find myself like sort of adapting towards is I've been so long like behind the camera. Now I have to find a way to basically get comfortable in front of the camera, which is, I think, is a little challenging, but I think with time I'll get better at it.
Yeah. Kind of like find your niche in a way, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And what do you guys think of cryptocurrency and specifically Bitcoin during a time like this? Because I know right now it's
no comment.
7.
I think I bought Zach shares like sophomore year.
What do you?
I think so like there's been like a trend always of this get rich sort of like like sort of like what like I think young entrepreneurs fall in the trap of is like cryptocurrency, Shopify, like sneaker selling, like selling sneakers, all these things that like
quick and easy,
and everyone like sort of like tries to like achieve, right?
Yeah.
If you're a young entrepreneur, like everyone tries to sell shoes, or everyone tries to like buy cryptocurrency when like it's hot. And I think one thing about being an entrepreneur is like finding the market, like finding a niche, not doing what everyone else is doing.
Yeah, but I mean, going along with that, but like how else would a young entrepreneur be able to express, those his like passions and ideas in starting a business? Like what other outlets would they maybe lean towards aside from? Like, I feel like mainly like reselling is kind of like one of the best ways, in my opinion.
I mean, there are people that are making immense money like reselling shoes and stuff, but like, I mean, like in terms of other entrepreneurs looking in, having no idea what sneakers are, and then being tempted to sell shoes when they have no idea about like the culture and stuff about it. So like it becomes tempting for like entrepreneurs that just want to make money and don't have any passion to join these industries like Shopify, sneaker selling, and like what's the other one? Cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency, like some people had no idea what they're investing in, but they saw the chart going up and everyone putting their money in. And it's like you get a sort of like FOMO, a fear of missing out. So you just pour your money into it, and then next thing you know, you just lost all your money. Yeah, I think there's a lot of industries like that.
But you were talking about how people have to find like a unique thing that not everyone else is doing. Like you guys definitely did that with like some of your business ventures. So how would you suggest that other people do something like that as well?
Yard selling. I mean, just finding. I mean, I know Zach finds stuff like Apple Watches and stuff and flips them. Like, that's something like not many people are doing, but it's a lot easier to get around to doing because you don't have to like wait in line, or you could also like have old stuff you just flip. What else?
Wait, how do you just find Apple Watches?
Well, you buy them off other people.
Oh,
Facebook Marketplace. I know Zach can speak to this if he's still here.
Zach just dipped.
He's still here. When it comes to reselling electronics, you just want to go on, Facebook Marketplace, OfferUp, and different sites like that where people are selling their shit. And you just want to just go through and just message as many people as possible and just see what good deal you can find. It's just like real estate, except not real estate. It's on a much grander, much smaller scale. You will find people who are looking for cash to, by selling their Apple Watch. And you believe me, you would find a lot of people who are willing to just sell for way cheaper, especially when you just negotiate it down.
I know for me, like photography is something like just learn a skill and like market it and sort of like get people to like. So just me doing sports photography, I think junior year I picked up photography and I started taking pictures and stuff. And I remember getting paid like, I think like $10 a game or something. Not too much, but like it's still something.
Yeah. So how did you build up from like, how did you manifest your own passions to like photography to something like that to get paid? Like for someone who doesn't go to LaSalle, how would you suggest they like get paid to do something like that?
I mean, every high school has a sports team and like just doing it for free in the beginning. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of people, like I saw like, I was asked to do it because the yearbook needed it for, and so I did it like, cause I always wanted to become a filmmaker, not really a photographer. And I had like this little stigma, like in my mind that like every photographer was kind of gay or stuff like that. But like then I actually like fell in love with like doing photography.
Yeah.
And it sort of like went there from there. And now like I get paid for like $40 a game.
And I know you have you do real estate pictures as well.
I haven't started. I was going to start about March, but then it sort of like fell through.
Okay.
Because coronavirus.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Guys, do you think that entrepreneurship is kind of like a trend, like kind of trendy right now? Is that like?
It is definitely trendy right now.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think what I think helps me with that is like knowing that like I'm a son of an immigrant, so like I've seen entrepreneurship all my life. So even if it wasn't trendy right now, I'd still be doing it.
Really? Okay.
And yeah, what are your thoughts on this, Zach?
Trend. I mean, there's not much to it. It's just trend. And those people who look at it as a trend, the people who are going into it as a trend, they're the ones who are just going to fail and move on to their normal life. I don't think you could really hop into entrepreneurship just because you see everybody successful at it. It's like being a doctor. Like, you're pretty much guaranteed to make a lot of money being a doctor or a dentist. Why is not everybody doing it? Because there's a long process to becoming a doctor and making a lot of money, and there's a lot of cost and time put into it. So, I mean, just the thing about entrepreneurship is people from the outside don't see what's on the bottom. They don't see all the hard work, all the hours put in. Similar to
it doesn't help that people are advertising like these lifestyles on Instagram and YouTube, and like that definitely fuels. Yeah, Ty Lopez or like any other people that are just like posting pictures with a Lamborghini and like enticing people to become an entrepreneur when they probably really don't know. And I mean, if you think about it, they're only doing that to sell courses, stuff like that, to like people that probably don't have the chops to be an entrepreneur.
I feel like if anybody just wants to reach any type of financial success, you're going to have to melt your face off of work and just put in the time and clock in every day and work. Like, people just don't understand that part. People always want to beat around the bush and just like, and not work.
By successful, you mean like happy?
No, right now I'm talking about just financial success just solely. Even though I don't really care about that, a lot of people they're like, oh, well, what if I don't care about happiness? Okay, then go work your fucking face off. There's plenty of business models that fucking work. Go put in some cash and you'll become rich. I mean, it could happen. I forgot
to ask. Are we allowed to curse on this podcast?
Yeah, I mean, you can't change that now. It's okay.
At this point, we're kind of crossed that bridge.
It's real.
I'm asking an hour and 40 minutes in.
That much?
Real quick, guys, I was going to ask. I think we're kind of coming to the end of it now. We've kind of gone for a while, but so yeah, what are you guys' like future aspirations like down the line? Kind of your goals. So yeah, just want to know if you could enlighten us a little bit about that.
What, Hector?
Yeah.
You first.
What would your ideal career be, or business, or hedge fund, or I don't know. Yeah.
I mean,
or do you want to like have dabble your fingers in a different field at the same time? Is that maybe?
I mean, at essentially, like what gives me the most enjoyment is exploring, which is basically just learning new things. So at rudimentally, just like learning new industries, or like photography is like something I learned like in like half a year, not even. And like filmmaking, I've been wanting to do all my life. Just like I love learning things like graphic design, learning different things like. So just like finding an industry that will just allow me to do a lot of things, like not just like stick to one thing and keep like doing one thing for the rest of my life. Like I want to switch up, change, evolve, always.
Nice.
That's interesting. What about you, Zach?
I say, well, I'm moving to. I really want to move to Los Angeles real soon, and that's pretty much in the works. I don't know if Hector's going to come along or not. We pretty much set something up for that, but yeah, that's one of my goals. I want to move out of state, somewhere to like Los Angeles or Arizona, somewhere down there, and that's pretty much it. I just want to explore. I want to definitely get into real estate very soon once the capital builds up. That's something I think I might be interested in. And then I also want to do some content creation while we're in quarantine and just pump out some content. Maybe people will be interested in what I have to share.
Nice. What is it about? Because I kind of like have the same mindset as you about like kind of going out west, like LA and over there. Like, what do you think it is? What do you think it's about LA that kind of like attracts you personally, as an opportunity?
I have no idea, man. That's why I want to go out there. It's because I just don't know.
You just want to feel it out, check it out.
I know
he's definitely thinking about the girls. Not gonna lie.
I definitely know together and beautiful scenery, and I know there's a lot of people out there, and it's away from home. But pretty much, I don't know any like other pros of going there. I just want to go, and if I don't like it, worst case scenario, I just come back.
Yeah. And like you're kind of aiming to do it all like on your own money, on your own terms. Don't have to rely on your parents, type of thing.
Yeah.
Well, the one thing with relying on your parents is like you're forfeiting that control. No matter what. Like if you accept money from anyone, you're always forfeiting control. Like even when you're in a startup, like you forfeit control when you sell part of that company. And that's
so my dad would definitely not fund my LA dreams because he wants me to go to college. So if anything, he would fund me going to college, and that's it.
Nice. Yeah, I'm kind of planning on going out there a little bit, but I was gonna think about going there for school, but mainly might just do like internships out there, live out there by myself for a little bit, then come back whenever I'm done with that. But that's just like what I'm planning on doing myself. But
awesome. Yeah.
So
yeah, no, I just wish you guys the best of luck. Like you guys are extremely driven, so I know whatever you guys do, you will both be successful.
For sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you guys both for coming.